Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Got PCE and the earnings blackout ramping up. So S&P 500 companies about 3 to 4 weeks out. It's not a regulatory thing, but it is to keep them. It's like a self-policing thing, keep themselves out of trouble. So hey Don, Jason, Scott, Frank, Will, good to see everybody. Did start just a minute early. Serge. And without further ado, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. It's not what I do. Don't pretend to be one. I'm never gonna offer you any investment private deals or anything like that. So if anybody's doing that, it's not me. Welcome to the show. PCE, well, does come in on Friday and expecting it to tick down. Whether that's actually what happens or not, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We shall see. Anyway, and the buyback blackout doesn't really show up on the calendar, but the end of the quarter does, which is next Tuesday, the end of the quarter. Then we're on to October, which we've got earnings that ramps up. And we'll start out. Money flows into financial earnings first. So FAS typically sees a little bit of inflows as we go into each quarter. Now, will it pull back between now and next week before we can go higher? Maybe. It's quite possible that that's what happens. And stuff like Morgan Stanley coming up here October 15th, Bank of America right there. So most of it going to kick off the 15th. So we'll have a couple weeks there of, we'll have like 1 week, I guess, kind of nothing. We'll have next Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we get the jobs reports. Then the next week, just kind of blah, a couple things maybe. And then the financial earnings pick up here. And then that money will rotate in toward big tech. And we see companies like Tesla coming up out here. Ooh. Estimated date the 15th. Gonna ramp it up early, huh? Should be interesting. Get in there with the financials. And we've got Google on out there to the 28th. We got Apple on the 23rd. Put extra A in there. Amazon, 23rd. This should be interesting. Definitely should be interesting as we have potentially Tesla come up here, front running all the other big tech, and then so the next month should be really interesting with the earnings and everything coming out. And Trump getting out there and saying that he thinks that companies should only be required to report every 6 months. SEC saying, sounds like a good idea. I mean, what could possibly go wrong, right? I mean, who could possibly lie about the numbers even more? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like thinking everybody has to be straight up and honest about everything. So, yeah, I don't know. You let me know what you think. Which earnings you most excited for? With Meta on the 22nd, 23rd. That was 28th. Microsoft, 28th. Nvidia won't, they're like the odd man out. Won't be out until basically Thanksgiving. Tesla kind of odd man out to the front side on the 15th. And then Netflix on the 21st. Kind of cheese stands alone right there. I don't know. And Oracle won't be till later on out in December. And then see, AVGO, Broadcom, out in December. ANET on the 3rd. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? Kind of interesting. Then, we got everything in between too. So that one will be right on the 30th. Shopify. And we should really get the de minimis, like the effects of de minimis showing up in Shopify. Certainly we should see some effects here. We'll certainly see the effects into Christmas. Usually Christmas shopping does ramp up. So, I mean, we'll see. But we're already at targets there on Shopify. It's all kind of interesting, I think. And if you want a more comprehensive calendar of earnings, pop right on here. And you can see every day practically there's companies reporting earnings. Just about every weekday. Every day the market's open. Earnings, right on through the end of the month. It's not, even though there's earnings season, as we call it, there's hundreds of companies just about every day, at least tens of companies. And then as you can see right here, we start ramping up with 591. This is where the real ramp comes, that second week of October. Second week of October. 305, 591, 668, 306. And then the next week will be big numbers again. 438, 1900, 2800. And then that last week, more big numbers. 1400, 3600, 3700, 10,000 or 1,000, 1000, 1000, 1,000. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. So right on into November, and then we'll pass that peak where we have that mid-November. We'll start tapering back off where we just have hundreds of yen, and then we'll just run that on through the end of the year, basically. Several hundred more, right on into Christmas. And look at that, almost every single day, except Christmas Day. Every single day the market's open. At least somebody's reporting earnings. Seems like we got a couple no events there. We got earnings. Maybe the day after Christmas, just dividends. I don't know. We'll see. So it's very rare that we don't get any earnings at all. Very rare. That'll take us to the end of the year. Into 2026. Crazy, right? To think that we're that close to the end of the year. So reflect on what you've been doing. If you haven't been killing it this year, be careful. Be careful out there. All right, everybody. So we're to the point of the show where the rules are pretty simple. 1 ticker per person per request. Let somebody else go. Then you can make a request. If you're a channel member, that's cool. Like, you paid, you're supporting me, you're supporting the channel. You can have as many requests as you want. It's A-okay with me. Just be kind to the other members. If you're just a channel subscriber, pick your top 3. 1 request per person per request. Wait till somebody else goes. You get 3. Nobody's policing the chat, but if I see you're abusing it, well, I'll just skip you. All right. And I see B made a request. It had to go. So Sabina, pull up DAFEN. I'd say obviously a 3x bull on defense and coming up into resistance. I don't really have a great way to talk about what the underlying is here. So we'll just kind of go down and look at what's in the fund. Got GE Aerospace, Raytheon, Boeing, Howmet, Axion, Lockheed Martin, L3. Fairly balanced. So this is not really one that, with this 3x leverage, I don't know an unleveraged ticker that this is leverage on. Let's see. Arrow space. And well, ITA maybe. Possibly XAR. Take a look at those. XAR, see how it's doing. And we're already kind of topped out. I'd be careful on the, and what was the other one? ITR. Definitely be careful here. Those are both looking a little overextended right now. Now, wars can keep going on, things can keep being crazy, but just it's kind of the way it rolls. All right, so yeah, so you've got this robot balance back here. Since we blasted through the resistance, upside potential 29 and 35. That's what we're staring down right there. That was a 3-day bounce, so this is rocking and rolling. Going on higher, 29.35. And INTW. So that's a leverage. We're going to look at Intel, not INTW. Intel has come up to the gap fill and kind of met some resistance. And we're just kind of churning here. Now we left a gap to do the gap fill. Funny enough, we gapped down over here in a big way. Came up, bounced off, bounced off, bounced off, bounced off, and then shot through. Now we're bleeding it back down a little bit. We may need to gap fill before we can go on higher. There was a gap over here that got filled, and then we dropped out. So there's going to be some resistance up here if we do turn higher here. Now, bigger picture, I was kind of expecting a little bit more bounce here, possibly up into this 40 area, where that top, come up into these, where we gap down over here too. So we've got these, this built up lots of resistance zones where these gaps are on the way down. That's a whole bunch of little gappy gaps over there that are going to have to get filled. And each one of those can have buyers that are trapped that just want to get back out. So as we hit those, we may get pullbacks. It may have to work its way through this right there to go bullish again. I think with the US, I did buy INTW with the thought the government was going to help support this going higher. And so far, that's kind of been the case. So longer term, who knows where we're possibly going, but I'm looking for another little pop, another little leg higher. Trying to sneeze. So that's Intel for you. SERV. So it's just flat, right? There's no real, we did this thing right here. It's kind of sloppy price action. Then we came up and we've just been sitting right here. So really a box just kind of encompasses this whole thing. There's no trend to it. We're just sitting in a box. Resistance is up here at 23. Support is down here at 4. And we're just sitting in a box. It's a big fat box, but it's a box and there's been no trend. So now you could look at it like robot bounce wise and you're like, well, it should go. Like, what about your patterns and this, that, and the other? We're kind of already at the target, so this can just keep chopping in here. We've already, that's the pullback, that was the bounce, that's the move up, we've already hit it. So just there's no big trend to get continuation off of, and stuck in a box for basically since the IPO over here. I mean, we did a little chaos and then doesn't seem to be super interesting. They can't all be winners, right? Think about it, like most stuff just doesn't actually move much any given day. Earnings coming up the 15th on Alcoa. Yeah. A lot of people talk about it bookending the whole thing, the whole earnings. Like Alcoa starts the kicks off the earnings season. So we had this uptrend of lows, and we broke down. Was this the low? As we push back up into the roadmap line here, coming in earnings, I don't have a strong feeling for it. Like we could break down and make another, you know, the way we consolidated here, we've kind of got that same kind of trend line going here, a little steeper. But if we break down, we can do this and then do it again in here. You know, it has not proved we're reversing. Hadn't proved it at all. So we've got to break out of this funk. Downtrend of highs, that high, this high. We're still down here below the uptrend of lows. Not great. If we break out, great. If we don't do that before earnings, this earnings may result in a retrace here. Because this big up we've had, we get a step back, find support, and then go higher. This will be the key right over here, this downtrend of highs. Golly, I want to sneeze. Try not to. All right. Whatever reason, me talking is like vibrating my nose just enough to make it itchy. All right, ADI. Y'all could ask anything you want to. It's kind of a request show / AMA. So if you got something you want me to break down, channel members, you can do that. And that already played out to a target. That was it. And now we're just stuck. Consolidating at the breakout. Smearing it up real good. So we can dip down in here. I don't see any more potential upside. And there's potential to break down and go even lower. All right, 267 on the upside if we could do it. But right now, it's just kind of humming along here. Not really doing much at all. LEC, Lithium Americas. Man, talk about one that just came down here and parked. And then all of a sudden we're going to pop. Probably some sort of buyout thing. Wasn't in the chart. Looks kind of dead. Parked down here at the bottom. So I don't know. Let's see what the deal was. Trump wants a piece of company in charge of America's biggest mine. So Trump administration is seeking an equity stake as much as 10% in Lithium Americas as it renegotiates terms on the company's $2.6 billion energy department loan. Yikes. That's a bunch of money. That pass lithium project. General Motors. So this is rumor. Buy the rumor, sell the news. And so we'll see what happens. 10% stake. You know, they don't exactly make a bunch of money. Reported revenue, 0. So they're just negative. Like they're not selling anything. Infinite price to sales because there's no sales. Sales is 0. That just means, you know, negative price to earn. Negative earnings because they're just spending money. They're not making anything. So, yeah, be careful on that one. Not what I consider, not what I'd say is a quality company there. And B, shooting to the moon. Barrack up here, 36. Nice job. So next upside on that one, 39. I got off of these. I got off of all these. Too much sauce on for me. That was too far, too fast. I expect to pull back, but yeah, can keep going. The narrative can keep out of the ski tips and stuff like that. I already made my 25 grand and I bailed. So, and ALB. Still not breaking above the downtrend. Look at that, holding intact. We ground it up here and then went on to make a lower low. Not a sign of strength. It's 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests. At least we're holding the roadmap line so far. If we don't manage to hold on to it though, right back down to the lows and possibly down to that target on down there around 35. That's ALB for you. EWZ. Brazil. So breaking out of the downtrend. That's positive for going higher. Look at the bigger picture. We never recovered from COVID, so this has just been sitting here consolidating for a long friggin' time. Resistance at this 35, 34.70, you know, basically this prior high right over here. Once we get through that, game on for like 55. Now, options premium here sucks, quite literally. Unless this makes a big move really fast, like playing options here is going to eat your premium alive. There's no volume. Nobody plays this. I mean, somebody's playing right there for 30. Somebody picked their spot, but in general, there's not hardly any options traded in here. It makes it very difficult. Unless you just buy some and hold. If you're trying to sell premium or something like that, it makes it very difficult to play in here. Yeah, look at these puts right there. Somebody buying protection. $4,000 up there. Somebody did a put spread. It looks like 30-40. Somebody did some kind of 30-40 put spread. It's interesting. Anyway, somebody like sometimes you can just see it. Like there's 4,000 right there, 4,000 there, 4,000 there, 8,000 there. So some combination of these 3 strikes right here, and then that was the other half of the trade. So somebody did either a 32-33 or a 33-36, and then offset it with that. And there's another 4,000 up there. So one of the, it's kind of interesting. So, I don't know. You can try to read the tea leaves. I usually don't. But then look at that at the end of the year, nothing. No volume, no nothing. So, people playing out to December and then, wow, look at that, 29,000. There's a big bet. Somebody made a big bet right there at 35. Somebody's expecting this to be up through 35 by start of the year. Now, if you wanted to cover all the potential, probably fly out here another year. You can even buy a debit spread or, you know, all sorts of things you could do. Can't get unlimited, you know, unless you just buy something in here. It's gonna cost you like $1.50 at 44. Now, if it goes to 55, that'd be huge money right there. Like January 28th, spend quite a bit of money. So, are you moving 600 contracts on the puts? So anyway, nice bullish breakout, still below the resistance here. Once we get above that, puts into play this up here, 55 to 60. All right, this EWZ for you. Yeah, I made like a third of the money I made in COVID right here on this drop. I bought an option at 40. Bought the 40 strike. Paid 20 cents for it. I bought hundreds of contracts. This went $20 in the money. So that option went from 20 cents to $20. That's a 10x, 100x gain right there. 100x, 100. On that drop right there, that's where I made 1/3 of the COVID money. When I talk about the 1.4 million I made, about 1/3 of it was just right there on that trade. Right there. Do I expect EWZ to do another thing like that, like giant pop? Probably not. And there's not many contracts you can buy that are 20 cents. And this is going to grind higher. It's probably going to keep doing this. Likely to do that. To be up here. And be able to catch one of these. It was beautiful, but hadn't done another sudden drop like that. So anyway, why did I do that? Because he was parroting Trump and saying it wasn't going to be any big deal, and well, turned out to be a big deal. TXN, it's just kind of going sideways. Didn't break out, didn't reach the upside. Lower low, yikes. So turned down at the 618. First move down, retrace. Second move down puts us potentially down here on the target. For TXN. AMR. Alpha. So again, look at this. Like, we haven't really gone anywhere. It's not a trend, right? 2023, 2024, 2025. That's 3 years. No trend. Took a little diversion up. Took a little diversion down. No trend. Now, what would I be watching for? A break above this price action right in there. Get up through it. Sets up this high probability trade right there. 561. Buy now. Stop out at the bottom. But it might fail. AVGO. Broadcom. We hit the target at 362, turning down. Watch for the gap fill and maybe a return to the roadmap line. This thing come up viciously, and this may all come together right over here sometime out later in the year. See what happens. Yeah, this could drift back down into earnings and then pop again. All right. Xeon. So roadmap line on the downside and upside if we get the continuation. Got resistance at 90. But then the bigger picture pattern back here, get the continuation up to around 120. And then maybe if we get bullish, 145 above that. So it's all about time frame. Like near term, 90. Big picture, months, possibly into 2026. Later on down the road, maybe a pullback in between 120, 150. And Cracker Barrel. Oh, guess what? Made it down to the sea. Even went a little further. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably not done yet. Probably going on down. Now, if we stop here, turn around here, nice upside potential. But at this point, we've pulled down the upside a little bit. 100. If we're going to turn this bullish, if this is just a bearish correction and we get continuation lower, we could see this pop right up here to 92 and then go lower. So it really depends on where we stop here. This is kind of the red zone, danger zone. If we make it up to here, probably pull back and then go higher. So big picture, that's what I have in mind. As you can see, this initial move here took a while, right? April, May, June, July, August, September to get to here. This could take well into 2026, possibly much, you know, if we did another pullback, you know, it could put us way on out here late. You know, it could be a year from now before we're in this area. And that could just be where we stop in this zone right here. And then we could turn down from there and go lower. So be careful chasing that one. And then, of course, it always could be that was it. And this is continuation and we go lower from here. So I'd watch that. You know, I've got this $40 alert sitting here on TradingView. If we get below that, odds are we're going down now. In the 30, low 30 area, maybe even the 20s for Cracker Barrel. BMRN. I'll circle back and hit all the subscribers here at the end. That's going down in a blaze of glory. Trend is down. How low can she go? She's going down to 43. Pretty easy. DG, Dollar General. Just what the doctor ordered. Back to the roadmap line. Sitting there, hold support. That's good. That's good. I'd like to see more of that. And we bounce up through the 618 at 111, 121, 123. And the gap fill right there. So turn down off the gap. And we're probably going to go up and fill it eventually. Gonna need to do that to go higher. Then we got resistance here, here, and here. Come on up. 134, 147, 162-ish. All those prior tops. All right. That's DGBA. Back down. Supports, roadmap line, 205. Support, 193. Support, 176. Support, 62. And this has to look like we might get a little more continuation lower. Be careful. Now this could, now the way this unfolds, this could be a 1, 2, 3. Then we get a 1, 2, 3 back up. And then we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down in here. And it could take well into next year. And people be like, oh, Boeing sucks again. And then it launches off and goes on up to 300. So we had a volatile start. It was 3 waves down into a lower low. Move up. Trace would be the most ideal thing. We could hold in here, but it looked much better for going higher if we got down in here. Nothing really changes week to week on that one. WRB. Yeah, so we have the potential setup to go higher there. 76, 77. Stop. Dollar below low down at 65. HNGE unhinged. Yeah, there's not enough candles to do anything with. Just parked here. Popped up, sitting here, not doing much. Can't tell you much about it. Not enough candles to do anything with. USAR. Looks like a SPAC. Nasty. Probably gonna go lower again. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it. CTOS. Please use capitals. It makes it hard to see those. And glanced off of the, man, bummer. Made a lower high, then went on down. Maybe we could go higher, but starting to look like first move, second move, third move. Going to be lower than that low right there. So you got like $20 of risk or so versus the potential to go up $35 upside. So is a 20 versus 35 worth it? Or do you want to wait for further downside? Or you want to wait for this to confirm getting back up through here? So it is still likely to go on up to 235 big picture, but I don't like that price pattern. Can definitely come down here, make a lower low, and that low we did back here at the beginning of the year. Alrighty. The McDonald's just been doing nothing. And we set up this roadmap bounce back here and then stopped it out promptly. This kind of like reminds me of what we were just looking at. See how that dipped down, stopped that baby out, but then found support right there and turned higher. Roadmap bounced again. Has the potential to come on up. This was the, I have 2 shares I've been sitting on since back here. 322 would be this bounce. We get above that 618 at 310.95. And I don't have these snapped on, so you might do your own work, snap them on to the actual candle tops and bottoms. Looking for candle close above that 618. Kick off this high probability. 75% likely to get there. 70% likely to hit the green right there. 325, 05, and then 330 and 338 if we get continuation on up there. Now breakdown, dollar below lows first stop, below this next stop. Need to hold this 618 down here to keep this up potential uptrend intact. That's the McDonald's. And I just rolled the chat all the way to the bottom, rolled back up. Marvel. Chips, not superheroes, still working on this potential correction. You can doubt it if you want to, but hey, it's intact until we get above this. Yeah, look at those gaps. There's a gap in there, gap in there. So we're still in a downtrend until we can break back higher high. UNH. Be careful. This can take a trip back down to a 618 pretty darn quickly. We're still under the roadmap line. That's still lower highs. And I can still take a trip down there. And for those that are like, but Warren Buffett bought it. He started buying this one up here. We hummed along and then fell out of bed. And we're still well below where he started buying over here. So, well, maybe this is done. It will probably get a retrace. I just don't know if we're going to retrace from down here and back down here, which would be a much better place to enter. Or if we're going to break through and then retrace at the top, or if we're going to do both, like come down here, then come up here, and then do that. So I need a pullback. There's no pullback. It's just a move at this point, and very likely that we see a pullback. And then if we turn back higher, that would be potentially tradable. But right now, under the daily roadmap line, not exactly the most bullish. Hey, Kimberly. Better late than never. It's kind of like better out than in, I always say. And SMR kicked off the potential to go to 58 and then promptly pull back a little bit. So 58, stop dollar below low, somewhere around 29. NEM, cranking targets, be careful, watch out for the pullback. 89, potential top right there. Fib extension. Now, if we can get on up, 111 would be much higher above that, but I don't know. It's going really exponential, and you can see it suddenly pulls back. Like everything looks good, and then the tides just change, and that's in the zone where it can pull all the way back down below 30. I would consider the risks there. TBPH. Yeah, so we've got very choppy, not very bullish price action. So this first move up went like this, and then we got a retrace that came down to here. And then we've done nothing. Haven't even hit the upside. And it's like an A, B, C. Yeah, golly, man, this is nasty. Now watch out for the resistance at the. Yeah, we're stuck at the gap fill. I was gonna say, watch out for the resistance at the gap fill. That's what we're sitting there consolidating, and then if we get that 16, possibly up to 19 area, could just be a correction. Absolutely beautiful correction before we continue down, and 0 is a real potential on this one. Yeah, I don't trade biotech pharma, so I don't even have a button for biotech, so just be careful. Careful. I'm gonna say you try to type KWeb, and that is a internet thing for China. So move up, retrace, potential move up, retrace, move up, retrace. I'm just looking for this next little piece here. I'm probably gonna be out. I bought a 41, 47. Yeah, it doesn't look done yet. PDD still coming around, just breaking through the 618. JD still coming around. It's got a ways to go up to the 618 there. And Baba, you know, basically getting to the bottom of the target here, the first target. Bottom of that target, we can come on up. Once we get above the 618 here, this can propel this thing even higher. And IDU has been a big mover and kind of taking a breath for a moment. We spiked it and pulling back, but if this gets going up above this 618, there's a lot of room for upside here on all of these. So see what plays out. Another way to potentially play that C-Web. And this one hasn't broken out yet, so this has got a 2x leverage on it for internet. K-Web is the kind of underlying there. So C-Web lagging this one just a little bit. And LAC. We already kind of covered that. Yeah, I mean, it's just Trump news. I guess, you know, Trump trading at, I know it's trading up here because of Trump news. That's what I said. So, alrighty, VRT. Yeah, I'm not going to touch it still. It's buy the rumor, sell the news. Like, there's no news yet. It's just more rumors. So GRT can't break out, but if it does, 181. And would yeah, that's done nothing for almost 10 years. It's just been a volatile sideways chop for 10 years. Yeah, not expecting that to do a whole lot, honestly. Maybe go back to lows. I don't know. Like, that's tough. Wood hadn't, you know, this ETF hasn't really done anything. So why hadn't it done anything? Not sure. Check out what they got. International. International paper, timber stuff. Global timber. International paper. Slavomlo. West Fraser. Myhauser. Smurfit Westrock. Let's see, LDR, switch points. Lumber. I haven't really done anything either. That's kind of in line with wood. And they redid this contract back here coming out of COVID. It really aggravated me that they remade the contract. So far, no indication of trend. So maybe we can pop, maybe we drop. Hard to say. This looks like a setup to go lower though. Be my expectation. So wood might come back down. Popped up into the roadmap line, found resistance, and it might roll back down. MP. And found resistance at 76, and then 96 is above that. If we get pushing on up, 176 above that, so that's a long way up from where we are right here. 100 points up. More than double cats. And boom, out to the targets. Next target up, 548. GNRC. Most of the stuff I don't trade, just so everybody knows. And GNRC, right back down. So this can come back down. Tag that, and then come on up right there. No big deal. Keep the pattern intact. This was a bigger picture bounce. Gosh, I don't even know what that was. It was a monthly bounce, so this could take months. Wow. So 45 candles is going to be the average to go from the entry, which kicked off right there, to the target right there. 45 candles. So this could mess around for 4 years and then finally pop that right there. And then here's the kicker though. Standard deviation is 35, and 3 standard deviations to get 99%. Get you up to 150 candles. I mean, that's like 12 years, roughly. Maybe longer than that. Doing my math right. 13 years. Yeah, almost 13 years. So this could mess around in here for almost 13 years to cover 99% of the time. And then you still have the 1% that could last longer than that. So with this close a target, it seems like it'd be more likely to go faster than the average, but it could last 4 years before we actually tag that. Made the high, made the low. Stop is $1 below the low, down here around 96 or whatever. That was the entry, and the target's 214. Yeah, so large risk, a small reward right there. Can I ask you how you would trade coffee like you were speaking about this morning? Coffee. Didn't talk about coffee this morning, I don't think. But you just, like, if you expect it to go higher, buy some futures. Futures out to 2028. The Arabica ones. I don't know which one of these. You'd have to look up which one's more Arabica, but you can buy some futures. You can just buy a spread out to. That's probably how I would do it if I was going to do it, but I'm not really into trading coffee. It's not my area of expertise. Trying to remember. There is a coffee future ETF somewhere in here. Can't remember which one it is. There's Robusta right there, Arabica right there. So the KT, I'd stay on NYMEX or on ICE. That's the difference here. This one's ICE and this one's NYMEX. One of those is heavier into Arabica coffee. And be careful on the CFDs and stuff like that. But there's a shortage, and it's probably going to last for a number of years. I'm probably not messing with it, but you can click on. There's a ETF finder. In here, it's under markets. Come down in ETFs, and then you can look for commodities. Then you can search in here for anything that might have coffee. If that was your game. Or you can ask AI, like, hey, is there a good coffee ETF? How would I play it right now? I'm not gonna touch it. Like, that's just not my area of expertise. It's not where I'm playing. Now, worldwide shortage might see this thing going much higher, but anyway. So not everything's actually playable, like for normal mortal type people. Duke. I point out lots of stuff. And Coco's been an absolute monster. I mean, I'll come back to Duke in a second. Coco's been a monster, but now it's finally given up a little bit. Yeah. Coming back down. $7,000 a ton. And cocoa's in a big shortage too. Rubber's in a big shortage. So it's kind of weird. All these things. And cocoa is not, we can't just grow more cocoa. And, Cavendish bananas potentially have a problem and they're going to go extinct. So what bananas do we eat after that? That's just like Chiquita banana. Go to the store, buy a banana. Those are Cavendish bananas. There's like 6,000 other bananas in the world, but the U.S. we primarily eat one. And it's because it can ship. Most of the other bananas won't ship. So all sorts of interesting little situations that might develop. Anyway, back to Duke. I keep track of all this stuff and read about it. Doesn't mean it's tradable. At least not for us. Duke's been really choppy here, coming in the top. this pullback topped out, hit the targets. I would expect this to come back into the roadmap line again. And that was a little sloppy. Come back into the roadmap line again. And set up another expansion, maybe out to the 129 area. Let's run the fib on it. That high, that low. Yep, look at that, 129. So this more of this choppy stuff where we retrace, expand a little bit, retrace, expand a little bit, retrace, expand a little bit. That's what I expect on Duke. JetBlue came into the resistance. Watch for that to turn back down. Let's see how are we doing on Delta. Still expect that to come to the roadmap line. And kind of expect that one to come back to the roadmap line. What was the other one I was trading? I can't remember. Was it JetBlue? UAL, DAL. I can't remember which other airline. I traded one of the other airlines. I don't see it. Yeah. Thought I'd trade something after UAL. I'm just not seeing it. Akame. Yeah. Well, maybe it's JetBlue before. Anyway, as I go in and out of favor on the pattern, like when I'm more confident, I'll trade the crap out of it. When I'm not confident, I move on. Don't risk my money so much. UNH right there. Traded put options. UAL. Love. That was the one. Trade Love. Southwest. And they're just chopping. They traded Southwest back here. They shot up, hit the target, then they retraced. Leave it alone for a little while. All right. Moving on down, LUMN. So it's got resistance right there. And watch for that to turn down. First move down, retrace. As long as we're below this, expect a lower low. If we get above that, then we can expect that move up to there. But this is low price stuff. Under 10 bucks, under 20 bucks. Doesn't always follow patterns. Sometimes it just does whatever. And be careful. QS, yeah, nice little bounce. It's a 4-hour bounce, not a daily bounce. There's the high, there's the low. Potential to come on up to 1665. 75% likely. Make that final little move. Not a lot though. Stop out is down here. That much risk for this much reward. Not what I call balanced. And Oracle. I'd watch out for the retrace. Left a large gap and didn't hit the roadmap line first, and we kind of came up past the target. We hit this bigger resistance where the first move up and the last move up potentially complete. Win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 equal to 5. That can take on a bigger retrace back down to this area right here. Put that low there, put that high there. Yep, right there. Right where I have my alert at 91. I knew I had that alert there for a reason. Right down in this zone. If that's 5 complete, it gives up. Now, I caution, like, there's some funny business going on. OpenAI announcing they're going to invest like $150 billion, and they're basically just going to light that money on fire and burn it. And then Oracle announcing they signed a contract with OpenAI for $100 billion of infrastructure investment. OpenAI going to put $100 billion with Oracle. Now, NVIDIA announces they're going to give OpenAI $100 billion. Market's back open. $100 billion. For OpenAI to give to Oracle to buy NVIDIA GPUs. Everybody's going to skim off of this deal. Well, that's just a circular firing squad. Anything hiccups. And the only reason this thing popped 40% was because of that news about the $100 billion from OpenAI, and it's coming from NVIDIA, and Oracle is going to give it back to NVIDIA. It's coming from NVIDIA and going back to NVIDIA. So be careful. Sounds like some bullshit to me. Bullshit can make money, but, you know, be careful. I think J.O. Coffee, this J.O. Joe, maybe? I think there used to be one Joe called Joe, but I don't see it. I mean, ETFs come and go, so hard to know. DAL, yeah. It was you. It was love, is what I was thinking of. All right, Will, I'm down to the bottom of the channel members. I'm gonna circle back up, pick up all the subscribers, and anybody below Will, I'll pick you up when I get back down there. Rolling back through. Let's see. KHC, Kraft Heinz. Hopefully you hung out. You bailed. Sorry. Guess you're not here anymore to hear my sorry, but Kraft Heinz, that's probably got to come back to Lowe's. You're supposed to split that up, right? Get Kraft and Heinz back apart. You know, spent billions of dollars putting them together, and then we're spending billions of dollars taking them back apart. That sounds like an awesome deal. You know, what is it? McKinsey makes a fortune telling companies to put them together, and then let's unlock the value by taking them back apart. Just the biggest crack of crap. They could hire me. They could pay me. Yeah, I'll take $1 million a year. I'll tell everybody what to do, what to combine together, and then what to take back apart. Unlock the value. I won't necessarily make everybody feel good, but anyway. AJ, COP. And well, stuck under the roadmap line. Till we can break through. Might go visit the downs. Down. Just be careful on that. That's like, we scratched the bubble, popped up to the roadmap line, stopped. That's classic stuff. And this overlappy price action there, classic for going one more low. It can be a quick zip down there. All right. Cleveland Clips. Still not looking great, but possibly bounced. Like that hit this big move up, came back down, hit that 618. In a 3-wave fashion. Absolutely beautiful. And the ABN right there. Correction right there. Then can we get the reversal? The upside potential here is ridiculous because it's like this. But we could be talking a lot of years. Like that was 2 years, and then that was 3 years. So the next move can be 3 times longer than that. So we could be 9 years on the next run. Go from 11 to 420. see what happens. Might fail. Might go lower. Zero's not far away. Let's see what happens. And Trump could announce he's buying it next week. You know, it's not a very expensive company when you look at it. $5 billion. Blow more than that on all sorts of stuff. Lots of debt. Whew. $7 billion of debt. Got more debt than the company's worth. That's not good. No bueno. Your debt exceeds your market cap. Let's quit and go home. Let's see. Decker's Outdoors. Another one that's under the roadmap line. Not looking too strong here. I'd be very, very careful. That can extend down. We've only got one drop, and then this consolidation of the roadmap line can easily lead to a bigger, deeper correction. Got this potential support down here, but yeah, I don't know. Not looking too swoofed. Probably gonna come back at least test 75 before we go higher. And ANETs 166 upside, support down at the breakout 133. Pretty simple on that one. PayPal. Anybody still with me here? Hopefully. Potential for that too. Absolutely beautiful correction. As long as we're under the roadmap line. That's the potential. And then I have a target that's hanging out down here at 42. But as long as we can hold on to a higher low here and then get through the roadmap line, we could tip this around and go up 100. That'd be the upside target. There's the downside target. But ABC looks realistic here, and we'd probably go lower low than that low back there if we came down there. That's PayPal for you. Hood got a little more juice on it. Not a lot more juice. If we just echo the last run, that put us up to 140. Then if we echo the last pullback, that put us back down in 70s. Just be careful. Stocks tend to do the same thing over and over, same size moves, even from crazy numbers. ALC. Oh, that hit the target. We can keep going. 69 could be the next downside. That was the expectation for the ABC. There. Anybody thinks these things don't work? ABC. Now, next downside support is down here at 69. We got to see this turn around. Got to get through the daily roadmap line. Got to make a higher high. Got to make a higher high to be able to go higher again. But downside friction is little to nothing. ARM kind of stuck sideways still with a descending set of highs here. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. That's a lower high, that's a lower high, that's a lower high, that's a lower high, that's a lower high. That's starting to be a downtrend. And for a long time, I thought we might flush this baby down to a lower low than the IPO. So I would definitely be careful. Could be $100 off. Right there on ARM. Sorry if I'm not bullish. Oxy, maybe we bottomed, maybe we didn't. Trying to get through the roadmap line. Got to get through this big consolidation we did over here. And we're just scraping the bottom of it. And we've got no uptrend so far. It's just downtrend and a bounce. And very overlapping. And no signs were done yet. So already did Soundhound earlier. Reddit. We came up to the target and turn it down. 308 next upside and support. First support at the breakout, which we're really close to, and then next support down here at the gap. And the roadmap line around 170, 180. Reddit. And And then, yeah, Oracle is part of the team to buy TikTok, but that doesn't like that announcement came out after they said that OpenAI was going to invest $100 billion with them. And that was what they popped on, was the forward book for the next 5 years. They had the OpenAI money claimed in there, and then Nvidia said they were the ones that were going to give OpenAI $100 billion. So JMI Jumanji. Nasty chart. Is there a reverse split hiding in here? Looks like there would be. So far not. Delete that. So that's a downtrend. Trying to break out. But so far that's still lower highs. We're in kind of a no man's land until we break higher. And that's the lowest low, so nothing over here matters. Might as well block it all out. Like, none of this matters. You'd be like, why didn't it matter? It's nothing over there matters. Elliott wave-wise, that low matters. There's one move up. There's no pullback to speak of. Doesn't give me any information to work with. So what I expect, resistance at that prior high, and probably resistance up here. Not much to work with. Now, if we could do a pullback, or we could pop up here and do a pullback to that. Right now, all the technical analysis tools I would use to forward predict where this is going next, all I would expect was more of the sideways in this range, up to about 100 and down to $1. $100 range, and maybe just hang out in the middle. This is log scale, so yeah. There's no trend here. Once they make the lowest low, you just ignore everything else back over here. And then work off of this to get your trend. Since there's no pullback, there's no trend really. Makes it very difficult. Alrighty. Reset my drawing tool. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks everybody for coming. I think that was everybody. See you again in the morning. Same bad time, same bad channel, 9:15. We'll do it all over again. Hunt for the things moving. Try to make some money in the market. Be careful out there. Today was watching a paint dry day followed by a little chaos at the end. Just yeah, I said we might go a little higher, than just kind of be careful. That's kind of what we did. Just return to the 15-minute roadmap line and set up the next bounce. 6,700.